Hello, welcome to July 3rd, 2022. I'm Kurt, and this is my daily Good Life meditation, an exercise to remember my life objectives and principles, and to see how I did applying those to yesterday, and to plan for today, particularly for any challenges I might see today. First, last night and yesterday, I slept all the way to the alarm again. Very good. I also stayed up a little bit late. We're in the middle of a long holiday weekend, so I kind of indulged a little bit. I was searching for homes in Japan to, we're not ready to buy right now, but to consider, candidates. I had a lot of fun doing that. It was a good day yesterday. Yumiko and I did our usual routine, cleaning the house and then doing our shopping. I think we had a good day. Oh, wow, what a dinner Yumiko made. It was really good. No real challenges. Okay, let's begin the good life. First, my 7 life objectives. These are the things that I'm striving for. The first of these is to be always ready to die. Just to have my life in such a state that I'm ready to go at any time. To have my relationships in sound condition, my life's circumstance, my affairs, so to speak, and my life's work, which is my book, Going Alone. My second objective is to make good and effective use of my time, to not waste my time or fritter it away or take it for granted. Number 3 is to develop and maintain good and sound life principles. These are the 7 and 30 that I use to, both guide and measure the quality of my life. And I work on these every day with this very moment that I'm working now, that I'm talking about them, that I'm thinking about them. I also think about them throughout the day as I go along. Next is to cultivate good emotional reactions, just to get myself into a life situation and circumstance where I'm reacting well to what happens, especially to the stuff that ambushes me and takes me by surprise. Next is to perform good actions, just to do good things throughout the day. And then to recognize my true limits and my true opportunities so that I'm being reasonable, realistic, and active in an affirmative manner towards objectives that are within my scope of control, scope of reaching, actually. And then finally, my last objective is to do just one thing at a time, and to do that thing slowly and deliberately and carefully. Next, my 30 principles. These are as follows. The principle of war, number 1, is to always be at war against everything that I think is true. And anything that's proposed to me as true that I should probably consider before accepting, which is anything important. Mundane claims don't require that due diligence. Next is the principle of reason and the sub-principles of honesty, objectivity, and doubt, which is the frame of mind that I use in approaching the world to be a reasonable human being. Oh, I think prudence is in there too. I'll have to check. 3 is the homunculus, the suggestion that though it seems that neither not myself nor anyone else has a soul, that seems to be a very unproven concept. We do have, clearly, a consciousness of some sort. And the next principle is the Anchorhold, the suggestion that consciousness is trapped within our heads and can't escape away when we die, and will suffer always just between our ears. Next is the home of good and evil, the suggestion that right and wrong do not exist as absolutes in the universe, but are mere opinions that we maintain and hold. And then comes the principle of purpose and the sub-principles of biology, virtue, and mission. My purpose in life is to, 1, be a good husband and father, 2, to be a virtuous human being, looking out for the well-being of others and myself, and thinking creatures basically. And 3, my mission, which is to share the message of my book, Going Alone, and this Good Life Creed, which is contained therein. This Good Life Creed is the thing that extracted out of the story. It's the essence of what came of the good life, of what came of going alone. Next is the principle of nature. Everything seems to have some particular nature, some way of being, some characteristic about its the way it's composed, and its inertia. I wonder if I could say that. The principle of nature consists of composition and nature, composition and inertia. Interesting. Sub-principles of composition and inertia. Kind of like that. Sub-principles. So the nature of the thing is what it's made of and how it's moving. Might add that in. See, this is what that third objective is, right? To develop and maintain good and sound life principles. Is this very thing, thinking about these things and then adding to them or subtracting from them, changing them, modifying, improving them. The next principle is the pirate ride. The idea that free will is an illusion, a very convincing illusion, but an illusion nonetheless, that we really aren't free. We're just end results, being jostled one after another by all the forces around us, the universe at large. Next comes a maturity and the sub-principles of wisdom and fortitude. We are mature when we wisely remember our past failures and success and strive to do better. Next comes the social principle. We are social creatures, we need each other. And then public speaking, a reminder to be very careful about what I say, to use few words, carefully chosen words, deliberate words, and this includes my writing as well, and to never, ever, ever gossip. You know you're gossiping when I know that I'm gossiping, when I'm talking about someone in such a way that if someone who's not there, in such a way that if I suddenly discovered they were there, they were standing behind me, I would be embarrassed. I don't want to do that. Next comes temperance, the idea and the effort of trying to consume less, and the sub-principles of suffering, simplicity, and apathy. We're temperate when we are deliberately controlling our consumption. We suffer a little bit when we do so, because it's hard to say no to ourselves. And such a life is a simple life. And apathy is the prudence. Doesn't prudence belong here? I think so. I think prudence belongs there too. Boy, I'm just doing all kinds of stuff this morning. Hard working morning. So temperance consists of suffering, simplicity, apathy, and prudence. Right, because prudence is the part that enlists our values against our self-control, in the execution of our self-control. That's right. Huh, interesting. How come I never saw that before after all these years? Next comes the horror show. Reminder that life is just chock full of terrible stuff going on. And it's coming for all of us. And then after the horror show comes, what's next? Oh yeah, that which must be borne. And what we have to bear is the fact of the horror show. We also have to bear our responsibilities, the things that we've accepted and we've taken on. And then comes the Feast of Offal, which is this banquet that we enjoy when we, or no, really don't enjoy it, we suffer. It's a banquet that we suffer when we release our frustration into the world. And particularly in order to spread it around, making other people upset and hurting them in the process. It's also what we do when we consume such upset from others, when they do that, when they release into the world. It's basically when we're having a tantrum in the world and we're consuming someone else's tantrum. It soils us. That's the Feast of Offal. I try not to deliver the tantrum nor consume it. Next comes distraction. The idea that so much of what we do in life is a mere distraction, so we don't have to see the emptiness of the universe, a universe without God, which I call the Great Indifference. That's the next principle. So those two go together. We distract ourselves from life with our work and our play and our hobbies and our religion, our families, gossip, so that we don't have to see how alone we are in the universe. We alone as a species and as individuals. Because ultimately we are all quite alone. Next comes the best seat in the house, to not want to be anyone else or be doing anything else or be anywhere else, but to just be okay with who I am, where I am, and what I'm doing right now, here, and right who, as I like to say. Next comes the Path of Wildness. It's a trick and a strategy to move forward in life, to collect facts about a big life decision, to assemble those facts, to think about them, and to make a decision. And if you can't make a decision based on the facts alone, then to weigh in with our gut. I like to say that the Path of Wildness, it's easy to find. It's the course of a stream. It's leaves blown in the wind. It's the direction of it's a beast tracked through the brush in the direction of our first inclination. I don't say that enough. I can't quite remember it. Next comes the risk of avoiding risk, which is the surface level risks of life, of education, career, family, home, and security. And then the deep risk of spending some time to find ourselves, to attend to the creation of our own identity. Tough to do both, the surface level risks and the deep one. We usually do one or the other. Next comes sin and damnation. There are 7 sins in my worldview, which when performed, result in a form of damnation in the here and now. These are falsity, being untrue; credulity, believing things too easily; faith, belief that is founded upon belief itself, which is circular, a tautology in a way; superstition, belief that is categorically identified as nonsense; dogma, belief based on a tradition or some canonical truth, canonically state, some truth that is presented as canonical. And then authority, belief based on the perceived authority of the person that's proposing the idea. And then gossip, which is, again, talking about people behind their back in such a way as they would not appreciate it, which is almost every way. Next comes complete oblivion, the suggestion that after we're dead, that's the end. There's no final reunion. We won't see each other once again when we're dead. if there's no final reunion, there's no chance to reconcile, no final reconciliation. And of course, there can be no final justice if there's no afterlife. So we need to attend to our better relationships and our better reconciliation and our pursuit of justice in the here and now. Next comes the great life adventure, which is one or more experiences in life that contribute to the story, to our story. And then the season of philosophy, which is a time to record what we've learned along the way and through life. And then the bullseye aim, striving to hit the mark, but usually missing, and understanding that and allowing it. The uphill climb, a steady uphill journey. Trudge, trudge, trudge. Arena and utility. Life is an arena for the pursuit of our objectives by way of our principles, our executed principles. And then nothing is enough. The idea that not only is it good to be temperate, it's also good to be very simple, live a very simple life. And then finally, the principle of fun. A reminder to have a good time through life, enjoying the moment of now, but also reflections on the past and anticipations of the future. Speaking of which, in terms of anticipations, I am looking forward to today, to a very relaxing and easy day. Our shopping, I think, is largely complete. Our housework is done. Tomorrow's another day off. It's the 4th of July. Yumiko and I plan to go to Idlewild to see their fireworks or maybe a 4th of July parade tomorrow. And nothing really to do. I think I am going to sit here in my little office and read. I have a lot to get through, a lot of books. I wish you all the best. Remember to be safe, but not too safe.